game gripes. It's Rell, and let's dive into Counterside, Studiobside's F2P anime-style RPG. Okay, let's be real. This is a gacha game. I'm writing this part before loading up the game. I decided to play this when browsing Steam. The story-rich tag piqued my interest. The anime-style opening with high-quality music and video got me excited. Then I realized it was a gacha game. I decided I still wanted to give it a try, but it would need more time than a 60-second summary. So, time for a different format. I've got quite a bit of experience with gacha games, and I tend to separate them into two categories: respectable games with some major flaws, and garbage games with a few great points. Using my knowledge of gacha games and a bit of additional research, I put a list of common gripes that gacha games often get and made a bingo card, and that's how we're going to evaluate it. Many of the things on this card aren't deal breakers, but the more of them you see, the more it starts to grate on you. I'll see you when we've encountered the first space. I will say, I'm giving the opening a pass, partially because I want to give the game a chance, and partially because the quality is pretty solid. The current opening screen already hits one: overly sexualized characters. Why is the first thing I see in game revealing swimsuits on people I presume are supposed to be fighters? It's okay to have sexualized characters, but only when it fits the characters. A close-range sword fighter doesn't match. And yes, I know why they do it, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't call it out. One click and we are on number 2. The top of the screen starts showing me shiny mission pop-ups, more distracting me from the story section, which I remind you is supposed to be story-rich. Third one. Just a few minutes later, there are out-of-place lewd lines. The game even calls itself out on this. Oh, I didn't mean to be flirty. Then why was it included? This character looks like a serious business type. Okay, number 4. If it weren't for you, the company would have gone under. So I'm the only reason this company survived? Okay, to the game's credit, there are at least other companies combating the corruption in some way. So, Edge comes in at number 5. A brooding girl in all black, standing on a rooftop, with her first line being a sigh. Certainly the Edge type. Okay, me from later. I played a fair bit more of the game, and Hilda's alright. Edgy, but alright. Next up. You are cut for your age? Let's mark off translation issues. Okay, me from later again. The translations are mostly accurate. Just so happens that we had one show up early. I'm going to give autoplay a break until the tutorial is over. And on that note, the tutorial's been pretty acceptable so far. It has given me time to master each system before forcing me into a new one. Really nice. Fetish character space. But the recruitment really forced me to take that one off. Witches, nuns, business people, shrine maidens. I understand they have a niche audience they're aiming for, but the out-of-place outfits really hurts my immersion in this story-rich game. At this point, the game let me out of the tutorial, so now it's time to explore the interface and menus. I open the gift box, and am immediately hit by the currency overload square. There are 9 different currencies in the box, only one of which has been explored. A common tactic to make new players feel like they're getting value. I do a quick look around and find the quartz shop, the currency used to get new units. And what do you know? It has daily and weekly quartz bargains. I click another shop, and the first words I see are limited packages. I'm trying to capitalize on some FOMO there. A 10 shot of recruits, typical package size, is 1,000 quartz. Guess what size packages you can get in the shop? That's right, 500 or 1,500. There's some predatory pricing. This gets even worse when you realize that quartz can only be purchased with admin coins, which have a similar pricing structure. You need 1,500 coins to get a 10 pull worth of quartz, but admin coins can be purchased in a 1,260 pack or a 3,255 pack. The idea behind this is to get you to purchase bigger packs and have leftover currency. Editor Rell again. I played more, and the 1,000 quartz summon seems to have disappeared to be replaced with a once weekly purchase for over 2,000 quartz. Just for limited banners. Even more designs to confuse the players into spending more money. The menus are actually alright. Despite me exploring without a tutorial, I'm able to figure out most of them reasonably quickly. This might come from my experience with gacha games, but not bad. The storytelling has run into a problem. Most of the characters in the story aren't in the missions, even when they're supposedly the team leader. The game has started introducing more systems to me, though I still don't fully understand past ones. It had a quick forced tutorial on upgrading units, but it didn't let me play around with it before forcing me into the next one. A clear sign of an underdeveloped tutorial. I'm pretty disappointed since I found the earlier one to be pretty decent. The game has so many different upgrade systems, and as of the start of the game, each one is touched on and easily ignored. If you have more systems than you can ease the player into, you have major systems bloat. If you want to keep the game complex, have us unlock new systems slower and add proper tutorials. After beating the opening section, we get a ton of pop-ups of things we've unlocked, and one of them is auto battle. That's 2 spaces in the span of about 10 seconds. The game has a gauntlet mode, which is their name for a PvP mode. Generally, in a game where you can buy power, the integrity really drops in PvP modes. To be fair, I didn't end up playing it, so it is possible they've balanced it. Alright, PvP made a bingo, so let's check in and see how the game was. I want to note, some of the spaces on the bingo card I was a bit lenient on, while others occurred many times, though I only talked about them once. Let's start with the very rough parts of the game first. My major gripes. I really want to hammer this home. The pricing and design of this game are built to trick its players out of money. The currency conversions are built to allow players to not realize how much each purchase is. The bundle amounts are made to have players always have a few leftovers, so they feel like not buying or is a waste. These 2 things, combined with the loot box style purchase system, make for a player hostile spending environment. While this is typical of gacha games, and mobile games, and low player count MMOs, it doesn't excuse being toxic to players. The other major issue I have with the game is the over-sexualization of characters. While I think having characters who dress, talk, or act sexually isn't inherently bad, it needs to fit the character. The game has quite a few characters whose personality wouldn't be sexual, with heavily lewd designs and lines. Once again, other games do this, but that won't stop me from calling it out. Okay, now I've gotten through the largest gripes. Let's focus on some positives. First off, the background art and music is fantastic. It really sets a mood of mystery and tension, with the occasional goofy section. It's really impressive. While much of the line-to-line dialogue was cringe-inducing, the overall story did a great job of setting up a mystery. I actually continued playing after recording because I wanted to know more about the world. This was similarly mirrored in the characters' underlying motivations. Each sounded uninteresting at the beginning, but many of them had something intriguing or compelling at their core. The combat was alright. Early on, before I knew what I was doing, there was a real chance of losing, which was really interesting. After I took some time to read my unit's abilities and create a coherent strategy, my performance really improved. Having proper planning make me do better was definitely a great motivator. So, after playing the beginning of this game, how does it fare? I consider this to be not a great game, but with some really good points. Would I recommend it? No. If you told me you enjoyed it, would I be offended? No. If it looks like your kind of game, and you're someone who can control your spending habits, the game has enough good things that you can get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Thanks for exploring Counterside and Gacha Game Gripes.